Here is another Gardener Devlog update, this time focused entirely on optimizations. Over last month I've implemented a new custom rendering pipeline that expands on the previously shown instance, the batch renderer. And as we've seen last time with bare to metal rendering, we were able to achieve around 15 FPS for 250 million vertices on screen at once. This obviously wouldn't be enough for comfortable gameplay, so this time we are applying every trick in the book to keep the frame rate up and over 60 FPS. In short summary, I've implemented a combined occlusion LOD billboard system that for most part is computed with HLSL on GPU side to reduce any transactions between processor and graphics card, with remaining necessary CPU interactions handled by burst compiled jobs. It is also async to avoid waiting for synchronization between CPU and GPU. All of the rendering is marshaled by an async occluder that constantly renders the scene in the background with only billboards. The billboard batches are passed down to the main renderer, while occluder creates a list of currently visible objects in foreground that excludes them from rendering in next pass and repeats the process for next LOD. This organically generates a scene with a level of details depending on depth of occlusion instead of simple distance, and renders all fully occluded objects as four-sided quad billboards. Because we are working on around 1 gigabyte of plant data each frame, as each plant node consists of 140 bytes multiplied by 65,000 nodes per tree multiplied by 100 trees. All rendering batches are computed directly by shaders to avoid moving this much data back and forth between CPU and GPU memory. Of course, it isn't fair to conclude that the performance has improved since last version, because in reality the rendering hasn't been further optimized at all. We've just reduced the necessary workload by utilizing the billboards. But for the end user with only minor visual differences, the frame rate has realistically quadrupled. Hopefully this will be fast enough to accommodate gameplay with infinitely dense gardens or even forests. For now though, I'm comfortable with this level of performance and expect the next updates to focus less on engine and more content and interface introduction.